Hi guys, today is the 9th of November at 6:30 in the evening over here in the UK, and so far no mega tsunamis have happened, which is a great thing. Only political tsunami has happened, the blue wave as they called it. Essentially, that's the Democrats retaking the House, as was predicted in all the models and the polls. Obviously, everything's orchestrated, so there's nothing really to celebrate on either side because things are about to take a turn if what I'm about to say comes through. The reason I got it on the Time magazine, some of you are already aware of this, but they show us things without us seeing it straight away. So you have to train yourself to look at things in a different perspective. And for example, this cover on the Time magazine, the description of it on the Time website is the cover shows a faceless President Donald Trump with his hair on fire. Now that's the way that a lot of people will see it, and it will just be that. But when you flip it upside down, and the reason I personally flip things upside down is because there was a clear reference to things being flipped upside down in the TV series Stranger Things, and in that show they constantly reference the upside down. So what happened? 1 second. Give me a second, mate. Hard to do it upside down. Gotta save it first. Everything's reversed, so just bear with me. Not reverse, keep changes. Okay. So, when you now look at the Time magazine cover, what you should be able to see is the Donald Trump's head is actually a nuclear warhead. Sorry, I'm going in a large circle. I can't control the mouse in reverse. That way. Okay. So Donald Trump's head is actually a nuclear warhead. His mouth becomes a symbol on the warhead. Essentially nuclear. Above, his tie now becomes a large red exclamation mark. Below, the flames that were Donald Trump's hair on fire is now the tail of the missile, or at least of the missile warhead. Below, the gaps, even the gaps, the black gaps you can see here, they're people. The heads of people with their arms up, screaming, I'm assuming, in the flames. The flames associated with this nuclear warhead. This nuclear warhead associated with Donald Trump. So at some point during this man's presidency, there is going to be a nuclear war, and he's going to be a big reason for it. So having done that, let me attempt to flip it back the right way around. Okay, that's much better. So, you see how they hide things in plain sight. People burning in the silhouettes up here. A missile warhead as Donald Trump's head. The tie becoming an exclamation mark. The hair on fire becoming flames. Even on the side here, some of you might be able to see a snake with his tongue out. Just half of the head, but you can see the eye here. The mouth is open and the tongue is sticking out in between. It might be something else. Could be a dragon depiction. It's even got, but I think it's a snake because I think it's got a forked tongue here. So you see how they hide things right in our face. So you have to train your eyes and train your mind to be able to see these things. Looking at President Donald Trump, I didn't realize he'd left the country and gone to France. And it just started making me think about the Statue of Liberty seen in the iPad Goat video. And obviously, Statue of Liberty was given to the United States by France. And there's a lot of references to Donald Trump being assassinated, and there's all sorts of other references we talked about. But I have talked about November 10th, and the reason I've talked about November 10th is because in the iPad Goat 2 scene, inside the apple, this has been interpreted in many different ways, but one of the interpretations was 1 seed, no seed, and 2 seeds, being 1011. So that being November 10th. November 1st has passed, so it can't be that. So November 10th is tomorrow, and we're going to see if a tsunami happens, because we have what could be a reference to November 10th inside the apple with the seeds and the no seed, and we have what looks like a tsunami wave here on the ground. And again, we have a similar kind of thing going on at the end of the scene, where we have the large S, well, it looks like an S, the number 11, 1, 0, and as I've referenced before, tomorrow is Saturday, November the 10th, and if the interpretation is correct, it looks like there's going to be a tsunami tomorrow. And obviously we've passed the political tsunami, so we're no longer referencing that, but there could be a real one to come. And obviously with these people, there's ways of looking at this, because the tsunami is coming from the right side of the screen. It looks like it would be coming towards the east coast, if we're looking at it from like just our perspective to the screen's perspective. It's flowing towards the east coast, but then obviously they flip and reverse things, they mirror things and put things backwards. So it could be that this is actually approaching from the west coast, and we've done interpretations for both. I think they're connected with volcanoes, possibly if it's on the west coast, Kilauea, or even Mauna Loa, which is the twin sister volcano of Kilauea, just, you know, equally as dangerous, but didn't erupt this year, but could. On the east coast, there's La Cumbre Vieja, which, you know, they've done plenty of documentaries explaining, or at least, you know, putting it out there so people can't say, oh, it was unknown. You know, it was there. People say, oh, we've researched it and we told you, we warned you about it, so it's nothing surprising when it happens. But obviously, if they purposefully do it, then that would be the surprise, because it would come all of a sudden. There's also Mount Etna, which recently entered the news as a volcano of potential collapse and tsunami-like wave coming from that. So there's a few volcanoes that we're watching for tsunami-like scenarios in terms of their flanks collapsing into the ocean, generating tsunamis. And obviously we don't believe that they're going to be natural events. We believe that they're going to be, you know, pushed forward by evil people in power who are ready to bring about this new system. We've seen some very contentious things take place politically. Jeff Sessions leaving the Attorney General's office, Matt Whitaker being put in place, the monopoly on the Supreme Court. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. It is a monopoly because you've got a strong one side, so either way it would have been a monopoly. There's a lot of things taking place with the immigration, the caravan on its way, the US Army, like 15,000 troops being sent to the border. I don't believe they're being sent there for the caravan at all. I think they're being placed there ready for what happens next. And it's got nothing to do with the migrants that are currently on the way. Well, in a way it does, because, yeah, everyone will be treated kind of in the same way, with a lot of hostility and guns pointed at them. Just before I move on, what I haven't pointed out before, I don't think, is just above the S here, in amongst the tsunami wave, there's some green here. And it's green because it's the depiction of a dragon's head. And if you can see that, I'm just doing the outline here. This is where the jaw is, quite a large jaw. The mouth is slightly open here. This is where the nose is. You can even see like they've tried to give it a little bit of scaly effect to, you know, let you know it's a dragon. The eye is red, and it's got this yellow marking, what would be like from the nose going down towards. I'm so sorry for anyone who was playing that loud. I'm so sorry. But just to quickly go back without pressing play, that's a dragon in amongst the tsunami wave. And what does that tell us? It's a biblical reference. It's the reference to the dragon being cast down and casting the waters from his mouth after the woman who's been taken to a place of safety. So we know that they're referencing this part of the Bible. And if a tsunami happens tomorrow or November 11th, then we know that that's the part of the Bible that they're trying to push forward. And this is where you have to kind of pick up discernment, because the Heavenly Father, he knows everything, and included in everything is man's plan. So everything in the Bible, in terms of Revelation, the waters roaring and all the mountains burning and stuff like that, those symbolic references could actually be references to things that man is doing around the end times, if you see what I'm saying. Or it could be that man is creating it as a deception to make us think that we're in end times, when the real end times is, some time away. That's where you need discernment and you need prayer, because there's no other way to get to the answer otherwise. And that's for each individual person to do, and not for someone to tell you what you should believe, including myself. So, dragon in the water, water being cast forward, going over a city, we can definitely tell a possible reference to Saturday, 11th of November, if that's the correct interpretation there. If that's right, then it joins up with the seeds in the apple, which means that something associated with the volcano, possibly the one we've been looking at all this time, Kilauea, is going to happen tomorrow. And the Helena slump is going to slide off, and we're going to get the earthquake, and we're going to get the tsunami. Or it might not happen at all, but it's definitely worth watching out. I'm coming up to the very last of my watch days, on 15th of November. Obviously, there's other dates that, call out to me, but I'm resisting them, which is maybe an indication that I don't need to go any further. Sunday, the 11th of November, is Armistice Day. It's the day that the Allies and Germany signed the agreement that basically ended World War I. And, as things go, it's possible that World War III could very well begin the day before, or on the day that World War I ended. You guys, be watchful, be prayerful, and be careful. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.